This time on Bonehead Comes, the Roadrunner gets out of paint, and Clark Northman is not happy.
What is this? This is not how Plymouth did it, okay? Alright, you're fine. Is this spray paint? What kind of butcher are you? What kind of hack would do this? These cars are supposed to be immaculate and kept inside of trailers at all times.
Gee, I don't know, boss. I just tried my best.
Well, your best is not good enough. You're pathetic and a loser, and I'm a genius. Adios. I don't know. I can't even talk right now, okay? I don't know. All I know is that if we don't get this paint fixed, and we don't deliver this to the celebrity of the week, we're gonna lose the shop.
Will the shop be lost? Is the shop already gone? Nobody knows, not even Clark. Find out this Thursday, Bonehead Cars.
Welcome back, guys. And today we are going to be working on the RolledRunner again. And I think I want to play with electricity today. But before we do that, I've got to finish our windshield installation. As you might recall, I'm kind of a professional glass installer. We just need to finish the job here. So, and I ran out of urethane the last time. So, we're just gonna fill in the gaps, so to speak. This stuff was way cheaper and it flows out better than what I was using. Oh yeah. And just mud it in there, make it look natural. You see that? I'm not a total butcher. That's nice. Look at that. That is significantly gooder. See, it just flows with it now. I mean, craftsmanship at its finest, still happening right here. Quick plug. Thanks to Ruby Rocket on Instagram for the sweet sticker. Installed it in a place of glory. Before I do any wiring under the hood here, I got this can of Harvest Peach satin spray paint. It's pretty damn close to whatever this horrible yellow color is. And I got it in satin so it doesn't look new and shiny. But I figured we could cover up some of the blue and make things kind of blend a little better. Notice how I didn't prep any of this. And that's because we actually want it to look like crap. See, we don't want it to look good. We just want it to look like the car was yellow or something. Even though you can see the blue right through the outside of it. That's fine. But under the hood, I think it should look yellow. Well, I ran out, but kind of gives me an idea that it's something I'd like to do. Maybe a few more coats. Hell, I might even make it shiny. Kind of looks nice. Nice contrast to the rest of the car. Well, on to the voltage side of things. We're going to go over what I got. And it's more or less the same recipe of what's in the GTO. So for the heart of our wiring will be this Ultra Chinesium wiring harness, because I liked it so much in the GTO. You know, if you long-time guys remember, yeah, it's great. So these are horrible, but it was 32 bucks or something like that. So that was the obvious winner there. Let's see, for starter solenoid, just a regular old Ford solenoid like this. Regular old Ford starter solenoid. It's my weapon of choice most of the time. For toggle switches, I kind of like these. These were 7 bucks for all of them. And these are marine toggle switches, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, you get 6 of them for $7 on the interweb. The starter push button, same thing I got in the GTO. And it's like a 50 amp guy. Pretty reliable, really. Then for gauges, I got these at Harbor Freight for $18. And, you know, I've known them to work for a little while. I got this tack at a swap meet. It says $10, but I got 2 for $10. Pretty good deal. I'm sure it doesn't work. But most importantly, the only electrical component that actually matters is I did spend $75 on a Meep-Meep horn for this. That is the correct horn for this car, I think. But regardless, it'll make Meep-Meep sounds. And that will make me happy. That's pretty much it. There's your wiring right there. Oh my god, not the expensive one. Pretty much all the wiring you need right there. In an old car. There's not much to them. So we'll have to make a switch panel. Something cool, kind of like the GTOs, to put all our toggle switches in. Mount the fuse box and run wires. And I left the pigtails off all the lights in the car, so hopefully we can just hook it up. That'd be cool. Well, I went kind of AWOL there for a while. Got busy with a bunch of other things, but let's hop back on this for a minute. I think we need to make a toggle switch panel. I was thinking we probably, you know, just install it like right there. Looks pretty good. Probably go about it Holy Goat style. And I already showed. Wow, they just kind of loosely package all that in there. You know, in Holy Goat we used a totally legally acquired street sign. And in this one, we're going to get a little classier. You know, as the channel grows and evolves and, you know, we just get a little more, pretentious, you know. And so I'm really thinking I'm kind of above stolen street signs. And I have moved on to license plates. So I went with an old license plate because it's heavy. And, you know, it's authentic, kind of fancy. We're going to put our start switch on the left like Goat. Except for we got to kind of make all this fit in that radio opening hole there. Alright, so if we got to leave the glove box open. You know, that has to be functional. It's kind of a must. I mean, I guess we could just put them in the dash, but that would seem kind of trashy. So we're gonna give her, you know, 110%. And then right there is, I mean, that's money right there. I can get my hand back here. I can draw on this roughly where the hole is. Oh yes, yeah, that tells me everything I need to know. So I'm gonna guess that this side to you know, here, something like that probably. It's not very much room actually. I mean, I could cut the dash. It probably wouldn't hurt anything, but I'm trying to keep it original. So I'm thinking I'm gonna precisely position the start button right in the middle of that 8. I think that'll look classy. Oh, dead nut center, man. Eyeball gauge. Nice. Harbor Freight screwdriver. Not really good for screws, but pretty good for everything else. Gotta go with a bit of a staggered pattern on our switch panel this time, you know, to get around the numbers. We don't want to destroy the aesthetic. Look at that. Look at that craftsmanship. Clark Dorkman don't got nothing on me. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill these, then we'll hope that I eyeballed it right. Chris from No Nonsense Know-How is here and getting repairs on this Torino. He's driving back from Vegas. You can check that out on his channel, No Nonsense Know-How, and I'll put a link down in the description for that. But He's just fixing everything.
Getting rid of some brake rattles over bumps and such. So huge thank you to Dalton for letting us, bring this bi-gen sitting in the AC.
Yeah.
Because it's hot and sweaty out here.
Yeah, it's like 100 degrees.
No more desert dry heat.
That is the kind of genuine craftsmanship you're just not going to find anywhere else. So, we got to put our labels on here. We got, thunder for cranking, lightning, of course, for ignition. Symbols on here too to, in case we get any unfamiliars driving it. I mean, I don't want to make it too hard for them to steal.
Pro status right there.
Oh man.
Just need a little bit more red Loctite.
We got the wind, of course. For the electric fan, it'll inevitably have because cheap. And the rest of these are just kind of optional for now. We'll have to integrate the Meep-Meep horn into it somewhere. Put the sill plate back in because I keep chopping the hell out of myself every time I get in here. So my eyeball gauge is kind of losing its calibration, I think, because I was like 2 inches off on that. Well, now the only thing to do is just cut a gigantic hole in the dashboard. Look at all this safety gear I'm wearing. Totally not butchered at all. Oh, look, can't even tell. Sometimes I amaze myself. I'm just going to kind of tentatively mount this where we kind of want it. Now, I'm just going to shoot a self-tapper into it. Boy, that's nice. That's going to be really nice. I think just for convenience sake, I'm going to go ahead and rip the column out of this thing since it, needs one. Well, that looks like something that would be attached to it. I think I'm onto something here. Get these 2 bolts out. It moved. The dash bolts out, and then maybe it'll come out. I still need a column if anybody's got one. I'd greatly appreciate it. Hello out there. I see bolts. Whoa! I got one of the bolts out. It broke. Got one more. I guess we'll see if it just, it'd be cool if it would just come out. Oh, come on, get. Goodbye. Apparently this is not how you do this. Well, this will come as a surprise to absolutely nobody, but I'm pretty stupid. And see, I'm starting to pull the whole shebang out of here. And really I just need to drive that little roll pin out. So we'll hit her with a little penetrating lube. And then I'm guessing we just drift that out, and then maybe the whole thing will just slide off. I'm sure it just will come right out after being heat treated. Hey, it's actually working. I'll take that. That's a win. Don't be shy. Huh, okay. Alright, now we should just be able to pry it off, right? Just no problem, I'm sure. I guess you just drench everything? This is how we do this? Now look, I don't want to be that guy, but a GM steering column is too nuts. And then it just comes out. But I'm not going to be that guy, not yet. I guess since I'm stupid, I'm just going to go ahead and take out these other 4 bolts. Even though they don't really appear to do anything other than reinforce the firewall, but I'll take them out. Oh! Well, I don't think that solves all our problems, but that's something. It didn't help us at all, actually. Well, that's cool. Oh, but it did blow the whole column apart, so that's nice. That doesn't really matter anyway. Something else I'm missing here, or what? Oh, that came out because I pulled that other screw out. For those of you keeping score at home, we've officially reached the point of the episode where I give up and just start taking everything apart, and then regret it later. So go ahead and put that on your bingo card. I'm beginning to really, really not like this. Oh, I broke it. It's still there. I don't understand. I mean, I did the thing. 'Cause this goes into there. It has this little like shoe thing here. I'm guessing there's supposed to be another one on this side. And then that is, locks together behind this cover. I can do my thing that I want to do now, but that still leaves us with, I don't want to put that on while the engine's in the car. That's for damn sure. So I want that gone. So everything I read says you may need to gently apply some force to it to pull it off the steering box. I'm not being very gentle, and it's not moving. Whenever you're ready. Take your time. Finally got that sucker off of there. It was just froze, I guess. I didn't tear it up too bad taking it off though. Well, I think that part will be reusable. Stick it on there maybe so we don't lose it. Anyway, we got a lot more room to work in the car now, so that's good. Another rock under the dash. Alright, before I go too much further, there's some like support rods and stuff that would have been in here for the pedal assembly. And I'm going to go ahead and nip those out so we can put our new automatic assembly in. Just like these two little guys here, and I grabbed the wrong size because that's what I'm good at. But I want to get all that crud out of our way. I'm going to probably go ahead and hang the new brake pedal assembly in. Then we'll go ahead and mount the fuse block somewhere, probably under the middle of the dash, I think. It's so hot here right now, guys. Yeah, those are the rods that they just torched out. I think the assembly I bought had them on it, so that shouldn't be too big of a deal, thankfully. Well, here's our pedal assembly here. And it came like all sandblasted, nice. 80 bucks from some dude on eBay. That was pretty cool, I thought. Before we throw it in there, we might as well completely refurbish it. Oh yeah. Mopar correct right there. So I think like every new part I put in it, I'm gonna, clean it up, paint it up nice, and then just leave everything else the way it is. That way it's like immediately obvious the things that I had to do to it. That might be kind of interesting to look at when the whole thing's said and done, right? Just let that dry up and then we can go ahead and bolt it in there. Alright, so I got our $32 ultra mega high quality super gooder wiring kit here. And I think I'm just going to mount the panel over here in the corner. It looks like a pretty good spot for it. I don't think it'll be in the way of anything. So it has this little ground here, and that's for the relay that's built into it. That's going to be like for a fuel pump or, whatever you need. And of course, the ring terminal on it is the wrong size, so we'll just go ahead and shoot a self-tapper through it. There we go. Just make it your own size. Out of the way, out of the weather, hopefully, in this one. Of course, we'll secure it with self-tappers. Because, is there really any other way to do it? I just kind of stuck it up under here. Now we can route all our wires up, and since there's nothing in our way, maybe we can do a little bit of a neater job than we did even on the GTO. When you're wiring something up, especially a car, you'll do well if you take just a little bit of extra time keep things sort of organized. You know, they don't got to be great or anything, just taking that extra few minutes to keep things kind of separated, you know, labeled and stuff. That'll save you a lot of headache down the road in case you ever had to get back into it. And you probably will if you're using a $32 wiring harness. Now our next job here is going to be to mount a starter solenoid here, because this is what we're going to use to give us all of our power for the car. And you know, this is it's red, so that means it's good. I don't know where to put it exactly. I mean, those holes kind of work. This is one of those things, it's very important that this remains grounded. So a self-tapper is maybe not the greatest thing you could use on this. You might want to actually put a little effort into it. Not that much though, because I got lots of holes to choose from here. Guys, it's been a few days, or more actually, since I've been out here. Kind of forgot what we were doing. I got caught up working on other things, and honestly, the old RolledRunner's probably taken a little bit of a back seat to the other projects. But we'll still work on it when we can. And that's the key to getting anything done, is being able to multitask and manage your time, you know. I guess we can bolt this in. Oh, it bolts to the piece of the firewall that is no longer there. Well, let's hold off on the wiring for right this second and try to get this hole in the firewall fixed up. So what I got here is a piece of 1/8" plate, and obviously it's way thicker than the firewall, but since we're going to be mounting a master cylinder to it, I want to make sure that it's pretty stout. Is just kind of cover the hole with it, cut her to fit, you know. Oh, we're going to have to round this corner up here. So we'll cut that off and see what we're working with. Obviously we're not going to need this top hunk here. And I'm just going to bolt this plate to the firewall. It should work fine. It's going to probably be stronger than it was. And it'll put a little bit of strength back into it too, which is always a good thing. Then when it comes time to actually mount the master cylinder, we can pop it back off of there. And I may have to go borrow a torch or something to blow a hole in it. So I want to take a moment to say, you guys better be impressed by the amount of times I've been wearing safety glasses lately. Because I wouldn't normally. Y'all got into my brain a little. Here's kind of our final product here. You can see it fits in there pretty good. Not bad. Mark some spots where we can drill some holes. So like right here probably. And that'll get us mounted up. We just need a few to hold it on there. Throw it up on the workbench here. And drill some holes in it. Drill a pilot hole first in each one. Hot. Our pilot hole's drilled. Now let's step it up. I don't know if my 3/8 has enough life left in it to do this. Yeah, that looks really good. I mean, it looks pretty bad, but other than that, it looks pretty good. Let's take my Sharpie, very carefully hold it precisely where I need it. Oh, well, so much for that. Okay, well, that's probably close. And we'll go ahead and hog those holes out, 3/8, and then we'll go find some bolts to bolt it on there. Then once we bolt it on there, we can bolt our pedal assembly up, mark where the holes go for it, and repeat the process. But it should work pretty good. I ordered a master cylinder, so once we get that, then we can finish the rest of that. Gonna have to make some kind of a brake pedal push rod. If you have a brake pedal push rod for one of these, I would be very grateful for it. You guys have always been a tremendous help when it comes to some things. Well, let's see if our holes line up. And, you know, they don't, so we'll just ignore it and and move on with our lives. So I'll probably put some like washers and whatever on here after the fact, but for now this will work fine. Just want to make sure that they all bolt up, and we can solidly mount it to make our kind of more precise drillings. Alright. Sturdy. I like it. And now you can see what I got going on in here. This brake pedal assembly. Once I've got to remove the old bracket here. But once I get that out of the way, and then this can bolt back to that brace, that dash brace there. Now we can mount the brake pedal assembly to the Firewall again. I got the old bracket out. Just got to get this new one stuck up in its hole here. Those two are both stuck up where they need to be, roughly. Now it's just a matter of figuring out where the rest of this jungle gym goes. Yeah, it's missing a lot up in here. If you hadn't noticed, I can understand you missing it, but yeah, it may not exactly just bolt in where it's supposed to go, but we'll figure something out here. Well, we got one on the side of the column support here that will thread. Let's take the low-hanging fruit first. That was supposed to go up there somewhere. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Basically, things don't fit. Looks like I gotta make a quick adjustment. That one lines up pretty good right there. Maybe I got, oh, I had them mixed up. Again, thwarted by my own stupidity. And now you can see, I'm just gonna take my Sharpie and drill these holes here. These 4 are gonna be for the master cylinder, but the 2 bottom ones will be just to mount this. We got all of our brackets and stuff kind of just, preemptively stuck on there. It's not on there for good, but it's locating it for us. So this is gonna work, I think. So you can see how our marks were transposed to the back side of this. And now we're just gonna drill these holes out, egg them out a little bit, because I'm sure it's not totally precise. However, after we drill these, we'll probably pause on it for a minute until we get our master cylinder, and then we can use these top 4 holes here to find the center of the master cylinder, because we'll be able to bolt the master cylinder to it, and then we can find where the piston goes and just hack a hole in it. It'll be fine. It's always good to have a nice workbench to work on, Alright, once we get our master cylinder, we'll be able to finish that up, but at least our hole in the Firewall should be taken care of, for the most part. It's probably the last thing I'm doing tonight is I'll go ahead and mount this starter solenoid. I like it best, like back here. I just don't know if it's going to get in the way of anything. I guess it probably won't. If I do that, there's already holes here, which would be nice, because again, I'm really, I'm butching the car. I'm not trying to ruin it permanently. So anything I can do that will, let someone else restore the car down the road the right way, I'm okay with doing that. A good practice here would be to make sure you're attaching this to something that's bare metal, so it can ground through it. But, I'm lazy and I don't really care that much. So, yeah, it's good enough. Ready to rock. So just for mock-up, that's the motorhome battery, which we will, of course, reuse because it's here and it's good, so why not? Yeah, it's ginormous, but it actually fits in there pretty dang good. So that's cool. That's like $100 saved there. We need to run a battery cable from here to the solenoid there, then one out the bottom of the solenoid to the starter, which we'll probably just worry about later. Let's go ahead and get our battery cable in, and we're just going to kind of work from the source back, hopefully. Wire the car up. And I know, like the GTO we did with the motor in the car, and that makes things a little more simple, but this is fine. At least it'll be ready to rock, you know, when the time comes. Here's a battery cable, also salvaged from the motorhome. And obviously it's way too long, but that's alright. We'll make it work. We can run her down, right down here. Keep it short. Shorter runs are better. Forgot my dikes. That's okay, we'll just use this. That's how you get a clean cut. Now, what we need, where did it go? Ah! It's just one of these cheapy, you know, clamp-on battery terminal deals. And it'll work just fine for what we're doing. These just bolt on, and then they corrode real bad and stuff, so, you know, replace them every, you know, 6 days or so, and you'll be just fine. It's just gonna go something like that. It's just gonna go something like that. Leaves us a little bit extra in case we gotta go to a smaller battery or like a different post battery. I like to leave a little extra on there, just in case, because, you know, I've learned enough in my life to know that hardly anything ever goes as planned. So there's 2 halves of this harness, if I recall, right? And it is labeled kinda. Here's power feed, which should be what we want to run out to that solenoid there. And that should power the fuse block. I guess I need to go watch my own video to go see how this works. What is this? Ah, of course, the headlight switch. So I found another battery cable just laying around. It actually looks like it's in pretty good shape, so we'll probably keep it to use on the car in the long run. But just to get her grounded for now, I'm gonna just clean a spot like right here, clamp to it. It should work well enough just for the little bit of voltage we're running right now. We're gonna land our power feed here, and thankfully it only has to make a real short run, no biggie. And I just took it out of the emergency brake cable hole here because we're not going to use that. We're going to put it on the power side of the battery. So this has got power all the time. This side only has power whenever it's brought in to crank it. Alright, we'll snip that off. We'll keep all this extra wire. God knows we'll need that. Strip that off. Give your wires a twist before you put a crimp connector on. It'll help you out in the long run. Safety tug. Feels good. Our heat gun, get that shrunk up. Probably land it on top of here to make it a little easier. No doubt we'll have to add a few things to this down the road. We'll go ahead and bolt it on so we can ensure that we can test just what exactly is going on here. Alright, let's see what has power here. So I'm gonna just assume, probably incorrectly, that all of these are going to have power. We need to put power up where our toggle switch panel is going to go up here. We got our accessory wire, which is probably, we'll just put that to ignition on most likely. But we can test that theory just by sticking these two together. It'll tell us if we power this accessory wire, if it will power all the other stuff. Oh boy, the heater and air conditioning. Yeah, we need that one for sure. Yeah, so all those have got power now. Yeah, alright, safe to assume that's how we need to do it. We just don't want anything dangling in here. It's one thing I kind of screwed up on the goat, is the wiring, and it is a bit of a rat's nest. The dash has been... So we need to put power into our start button, and so obviously that's going to come off the big heavy one there probably, and that'll run our start button. And then below that we got our lightning. We will probably just use a jumper and put those two together. So we're going to put power into the push button and then run a little jumper down to the lightning switch. We can use the lightning switch to power the accessory line here, which will give power to everybody else. You can see our jumper set up here. Obviously this will be turned, you know, to be up and down once we get to that point, but that's going to be our jumper. We're going to land our power here, And then those are the only two things we need to land power on up here. So there's always more than one way to skin a walrus, all right? You know, in some ways work better than others, and my ways, well, they work. And yeah, that's about it, but they do work. I cannot emphasize enough how much I recommend using heat shrink terminal ends. You know, when I did that in the GTO, it was kind of nice to turn on the heat because it was cold outside in winter and awful. Now it's hot and summer and awful. And supposedly these are all fused. I don't believe them, but you know, take what you can get, I guess. It's basically rinse and repeat, guys. I'm gonna finish this up and we'll move on to the next step. But you know, wiring is a lot easier than folks make it out to be. I mean, you could read an article on how to do it, and boy, it'll make your head blow up. And I get that, because they use all kinds of jargon and whatnot. Pretty much, you just put power into things and take power out of things. And that's how it works, man. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple, stupid. And one last thing I like to do, just to cover real quick before I probably call it a night here. When you got bare connections like this, especially in like the back end of something, you know, sitting under that gonna leak real bad part there, just put a piece of electrical tape around it. Or even if you're up in there poking around with a screwdriver or a chainsaw or something, and you know, you don't want to be popping fuses left and right if you can help it, right? So just put a bit of electrical tape. You know, even if it looks terrible like this, I should have done it with it removed, but well, it is what it is. You know, just put a piece of electrical tape around the contacts, and that's gonna, you know, maybe prevent a disaster. Probably not, but at least you can say you tried. Piece of scrap wire here, I'm just gonna use to run out to the S terminal on that ignition solenoid, starter solenoid, thing that make go crank crank solenoid. Come right out of the switch here, because when we push this switch, we're sending power from here over to here, and then that sends power to the solenoid, brings in the solenoid, juice go down to starter, starter go da 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 da. Or in this case, being a Chrysler, it goes. Here's our wire coming off the back of the crankety crank switch there. These are two terminals. One is labeled ignition, one is labeled start. The ignition is to provide 12 volts during crank on Fords and Mopars. We don't need that for what we're doing. We're only going to worry about the start terminal. And energizing this terminal will send power from here to here, which will go down to the starter. We take a break in the action for a amazing breaking news update. I got a bunch of boxes from Irish Outlaw Garage. And they're interestingly decorated. Rainbows and unicorns. Tape. He had a set of these turbine wheels for his Javelin, which is the same bolt pattern as this Roadrunner. And they are decorated. That's alright, these are cool as hell. Looks like two 7s and then two big old deep 8s or 10s maybe. Those are going to be just perfect for this. Thanks a lot to Irish Outlaw Garage for sending me these beautifully decorated boxes. I'm assuming your wife did that. I'm hoping your wife did that. I'm going to put a link to his channel down in the description there. And if you guys would, he's trying to get to the No Name Nationals, and he needs 500 subscribers. And he's really gaining on it. He's got like 200 or something like that, but I mean, come on. There's got to be a few hundred of you guys out there that'll go click subscribe on his channel. Make sure he can go have a good time at No Name Nationals. This one appears to have been on fire. So that's good. Fits right in. You can see that I've taken the red wire out of the push button and taken it up here to the S terminal. And that's going to bring in this solenoid. So let's go ahead and test it. Let me hit our push button. You can hear it pulling that relay in. Aha! Looky there. It's perfect. These use this little bracket here, this special bracket here. That's how they make their Meep-Meep sound. So I can't wait to test it. I've been snared. El Cheapo Meep-Meep makers. And I got some power. I just grabbed some accessory heater and AC wire, whatever. It doesn't matter. Those are just letters. They don't mean nothing. So we put power in one side of the button, and then we send power out to the Meep-Meep maker. Meep-Meep. It of course pains me a great deal, but I'm having to hack a hole in the dash to put our horn button on, because if it doesn't go Meep-Meep, it's just not a Roadrunner. Definitely going to rub through that and short out at some point. So we'll just, you know, put some preventative maintenance on that. Fixed. And we will, of course, secure that with a couple of self-tappers. Maybe we're just kind of loosely laying in everything for now. At some point we will wrap all this and tidy it all up. Once we get some more wires up here though. Pull out our excess. Always leaving a little bit of slack, of course. Come right around the back side and kind of chop her off right about there. Slide that on there. Then we'll go ahead and weatherproof it. And now, oh, it's shorted. Oh, that's not good. The screws I had in it were too long and they were making contact all the time. There we go. Well, car's done. It was a good project, guys. Yeah, so if you want to see me work on something else, you know, it's finished now. We can go ahead and run a pigtail up to what we're going to use to run our fans. And then we can run out of that, and then we can permanently mount this, at least until we find something we need more toggles for. I just ran the wire out here through the firewall, and it's just a piece of scrap from another part of this harness. And this is the fan relay on, and because I will be putting an electric fan in it, no doubt. It's just better and cheaper usually. I'll just leave this out here until we know exactly what we need for that, but at least that's already ran, and all we got to do is just hook it up. Well, I decided we'd start on the back half of the car with these brakes, or brake lights. And to do that, we obviously need to put a brake light in that side. It still had the brake light lens itself, which goes up in there, but it was missing the quarter extension. So Richard sent me this from down in Texas. He yanked it out of a junkyard for me, out of a satellite or something, and it's really cool. I appreciate that. It's got the studs are busted off of it, but I got a way around that. It'll be alright. I'm just going to force some nuts on them to thread them on. They're snapped off, but there's enough left there to grab. This half of the wiring is still here. You might be able to see that the rest of this leaves a little bit to be desired, you know. I think we'll probably just start from scratch. I just realized this is missing the chrome. It's supposed to have some like trim or something around it. Well, oh well. I bet the trim is probably what would actually hold that on, huh? So we don't have it, and given the price of Mopar things, probably not ever gonna have it. So there's that. And yeah, that's gonna look kind of goofy. I may actually look for that piece of trim. I grabbed some old speed nuts I had, and if you start those are meant to cut threads as they go. Kind of force them. That's what the factory would have used. Yeah, it'll work just fine. Probably not exactly what you want holding that whole thing on there, but it will work. That's going to be a royal pain to take off if we ever have to, but it's on there. I need to make a brake light switch bracket because I don't have one. So I have this throttle bracket, and it seemed like it would probably work. This side of it right here. I think if we chop it off here and then drill a hole in there, then we can mount this GM style brake light switch, which is pretty much the same thing as the Chrysler switch. The only one that was a real odd duck was Ford. You know, go figure. Let's go ahead and safely cut this off. Oh, the disc came apart. What we got going on here? Drilled another hole here. Should be able to mount that on the side of the brake pedal assembly. Drill a hole here, and then put our brake switch in that, hopefully. I'm going to mount it up real quick, and then mark where the hole needs to go for the brake switch, and we'll see what we got. I determined that we can cut this bottom part off, and then we need to drill a hole just kind of in the lower half of this will work. Got a brake light switch here. Looks like about, I don't know, ½ inch or so. Bracket up here in the clamp. We'll drill us a pilot hole, and then we'll work from there. I'm sure this Harbor Freight step bit will work. Okay, I'm sure that Harbor Freight step bit won't work. Boom. Got our little bracket here, bolted to the side, nice and solid. And we'll just stick our brake light switch through. It's a little wonky. It's a lot wonky. It's not going to work. Why? Well, after much cursing and gnashing of the teeth, you can see that it does, in fact, work. I think. I don't know. Let me know. Is it working? We'll have to adjust it, finally, once we get a push rod and all that good stuff. But this will function. So that's pretty cool. You guys know the drill by now. I'm just going to bring some power into one side of that brake light switch. And then on the other side of the switch, I'm just going to run a wire all the way to the back of the car, and there's our brake lights. Well, my friends, we made pretty good progress this time around on the old RolledRunner here. We made good headway, and we're damn near done with the brake lights. All we gotta do is put a headlight switch in and wire those up. But this has run on a little bit longer than I was wanting it to, and I'm hot. I'm probably gonna do this in the next episode. Do headlights, and I've been ordering stuff to be able to put the motor in the car. So hopefully we do that next. We're going to work on JD's car as well, but you should be seeing some more of this coming up in the future now that his engine's built. We just got to put it in his car and then cross our fingers that it runs. So as far as this goes, next time around I think we're going to yank maybe the front sheet metal off, try to straighten that up, try to pull out that apron over on the passenger side, gauges, tack, and just finish getting ready to put the engine in the car. Just make a little progress, a little bit at a time will get us there. I'm not trying to knock this thing out near as fast as I did the GTO, because it has a long way to go, and I have other things that are closer. If you guys dig it, hit that subscribe and ring the bell and hit the like down there. Those are very important. I don't get anything out of it, but you do. So check it out. We'll see you guys next time on Pole Barn Garage.